Hi, welcome back to our channel. We're excited to show you what we spent for 90 days in Portugal and Italy. We travel slowly, so that means we try to spend about a month in each area that we visit. We're also digital nomads, and that means that we work 40 hours a week. In our budget breakdown in this video, we actually separate out what we spend on food from everything else because what we spend on food might be completely different than what you guys spend on food. And that's because we really ate out of convenience without taking a budget into mind. So that changes a lot of things about the price. So in this video, we actually broke up Italy and Portugal's budget, and at the end, we're going to show you completely what we spent.
The 90-day overview of our trip looks like this. So we went from North Carolina, United States to Milan, Italy. And in Milan, Italy, we had a 5-week house sit that we had set up before we left. So we had all of the details, we knew where we were going to stay, and we had an immediate place to go once we landed. In that 5-week house sit, we did have a 9-day break. So the homeowners came back for about 9 days and then they left again. So during those 9 days, we decided we wanted to travel around Italy and see some spots that were important to us. And then from Milan, Italy, we flew to Faro, Portugal, and we broke that up with 4 weeks in Albufeira and 3 weeks in Cortera. First up is Italy and our 5-week house sit and how we broke down our budget. So we broke it down by accommodation, the hospital visit that I had to do. I had 3 virtual doctor's appointments, medicine for everything that was going on, and public transit as well as Ubers, and we had 2 couples massages. The total for this, excluding food, was $855 US. During our 5-week house sit in Milan, Italy, we had a 9-day break, so the homeowners came back for that period, so we decided to travel around to a few cities in Italy that were important to us. So that was more of a fast-paced travel, and we're going to show you how we broke that down. The train from Milan to Venice was about 4 hours, and it was $117 for both of us. Our hotel was for 2 nights, and it was $163. Public transit, so that was to get from the main part of Venice to the island of Venice, and that was about $4 for both of us. We did do a water taxi. We bought a pass, a 48-hour use pass. It was like a couple dollars cheaper than just buying it individually. However, we only used it for going around the island and coming back, so we only used it one night. Total spent, excluding our food, was $344. Next up, we went to Rome. So our train from Venice to Rome was about 4 hours. It was $204, and that was for both of us to get there. These trains have been really nice because we get to use Wi-Fi, so we were working some on this, so it did cut down on the work time that we had to do later. We stayed in an Airbnb. It was a private room, so it was a shared location, and that was for 3 nights, and it was $200. We did get a couples massage. It was $150 total. Sightseeing and walking around was free for us. We didn't go into any places that charged. And then public transit, $4, and we did get a new suitcase for Cody, and that was $86. In total, we spent $644, and that is excluding food. From there, we went to Pompeii. So the train from Rome to Pompeii was about 3.5 hours. That did consist of 2 trains, and it was about $98. Our Airbnb was for 4 nights in the city of Pompeii, and that was $201. And then we did a guided tour of the Pompeii ruins, and that was $108. The total for this trip was $407. After that, we concluded our trip and we took a train back to Milan. And our totals in Italy, including everything, was $4,766. It averaged to be about $113 a day, but we didn't budget for food at all. We really ate out of convenience, what we felt like in the moment. So if you budgeted, I'm sure this average would go way down.
After our house sit ended, we wanted to explore another area of Europe. We opted for Portugal. Flights were the cheapest way to get to Portugal from Italy. Flights were with TAP Air Portugal, and these flights cost us $460 for both of us. Our accommodation was an Airbnb, and we rented this for 4 weeks, and that cost us $1,199. This time we rented a car when we landed in Portugal. We wanted to try a different method of transportation. Rental of the car for 4 weeks was $400 US. We had to leave a deposit when we rented the car, and this ended up being $900. We just put this on a card, and we were able to get that back when we returned it. Gas for the car was $176, and this was mostly just driving around town and doing other errands. We did do 1-day trip to Portimao. If you were to drive more than that, then gas would probably be much more expensive. So everything excluding food for Albufeira was $3,135. But $900 of that was the deposit for the car, which we were going to get back. We then headed to Cartera for our last 3 weeks. We had the car rental still for our move to Cartera, so we didn't have to pay anything for that. It was only about a 23-minute drive between our two destinations. Right before we left Albufeira, Lindsay got sick again. Unfortunately, I also got sick the day after we arrived. This caused us to stay inside and rest. We both had virtual doctor visits, and we were both prescribed antibiotics, probiotics, and some medicine to help with the symptoms. This totaled $125. We were both sick for nearly 2 weeks, and this prevented us from doing basically anything. After we recovered, we did go see a movie. Non-animated movies are typically in their normal language with Portuguese subtitles, so you can still enjoy a movie. The total of this cost $25 US for the tickets, popcorn, and a soda. After she was feeling better, Lindsay went and got a massage too. To get to the movies and then the massage, we actually took 4 Ubers total, and each of these was approximately 20 minutes, and total those were $35 US. We had decided to splurge on an Airbnb for our last 3 weeks. This was right on the beach on the boardwalk in Cartera, and this costed $1,641. Now this would have been about the same price if we had done it 4 weeks versus 3 weeks, so it's more expensive if you have less than 28-day stays. This is also dependent on each Airbnb and the discount they offer for a monthly stay. This put the total for Cartera at $1,956 excluding food. So then our totals for Portugal for 7 weeks without food were $4,191. Our 7 weeks cost of food was $2,181. And this put the grand total for the 7 weeks we were in Portugal, $6,372. So with all of those prices being listed out, that means our grand total before food for the whole 90 days we were in Europe, $6,778. And our total with food was $11,138, and this averaged out to be about $123 a day. And as we mentioned before, this is without budgeting for food. Having listed all of this out, I think the key takeaway is set some funds aside for anything that might come up while you're traveling. In our case, both of us needed to have medication and doctor's appointments, and it indented it a bit into our budget. This is still not even as close to as cheap as you can travel to these areas though. For us, this is still much cheaper than living in the United States. As we were both working full-time, we didn't really have a lot of expenses you might normally have with sightseeing or vacation costs, so we hope this video helps you out, especially with understanding the expenses to visiting and general slow travel costs for Italy and Portugal. At least, if you don't really try to budget. If you guys like the content in the video, please give us a like and subscribe, it'll really help us out.